Good morning. Here I go with the hair. Good morning, good morning. It's not as early as it normally is, but I'm still saying good morning. And I have playing Kirk Franklin, Why We Sing. Not sure if it can be heard, but wanted to play that this morning. This is not the normal time for Talk About It Tuesday, but sometimes you got to do different things. So good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Pastor Lisette of Restoration Fellowship. And it is Tuesday, Talk About It Tuesday. And I'm coming on Talk About It Tuesday a little late this morning. Had some other obligations that I could not move around. And so decided that I would still maintain the commitment to do Talk About It Tuesday, but just did it a little later today. And so am jumping on. It is about 10:47 exactly. And there has been so much going on in our lives personally and in our lives communally and socially, collectively as a city, state, country. And so it has brought me to consider and think about what is my why? Why do I do what I do? Why do I say what I say? Why am I committed to the things that I'm committed to? Why do I find ways to support who I support? Why do I find myself doing the activities that I do or participating in the events that I participate in or supporting the issues and the causes and the movements? What is the why? And it can feel like a big question, why? I often personally don't like to ask that question, why, because it can feel accusatory. When you ask somebody, well, why did you do that? No matter how nice you say it, sometimes why can come across in that kind of levying of a judgment way. However, there are moments in this journey, there are moments both individually, personally, and communally in which the question of why is necessary. Because it gets to the heart of your motivations. It gets to the heart of our inspiration. It gets to what I talked about a couple weeks ago, the grounding that we need in this time. And so I wanted to just get you to talk about today, what is your why? What is your why? Why do you do what you do? Why do you believe what you believe? Why do you attend to the commitments that you attend to? What is the thing that consistently threads your actions? What is that inspiration? What is that guide? What is that litmus test, right? Like the idea of us actually reflecting on our why is really not a trifling matter if we're honest about it. Because our why will allow us to be able to say no when we need to say no. And it allows us to say yes when we need to say yes. That there are moments in our life when we are asked to participate, when we are asked to show up, when we are asked to be in community with others that directly connects to our motivations. And if you don't know what your why is, then it will cause you to be tossed here and fro, to be sometimes, as the old folks in the black church tradition would say, to be tossed and driven, to be able to be, led by any which way, and not having your own sense of, nope, this is why I'm doing this. Like, I'm clear as to why I'm doing this. I'm not faltering, or you know what? I need to stop and reflect on what my motivation really is. Because what I realized in my life, and I hope that you do some reflection and think about this, is that when I am most deeply connected to the why, to the thing that grounds me, to the thing that motivates and inspires me, then I am more decisive and more clear about my decisions and my commitments and my relationships. I am more connected to my dreams and my hopes and my aspirations. I am more open to love in beautiful and expanding ways, because when I know why, it helps me to be grounded in a way that allows me to be fuller and allows me to be more present. And so I ask you to think about it. I ask you to question, what is your why? And then ask the question of the people around you. What is their why? And how do you all connect? Excuse me. Because what we're seeing now, we're about, a week and some change out from Charlottesville, that we're moving outside of crisis mode and we're moving towards action. We're moving towards consistent response. We're moving towards ways in which we are kind of getting back to the normal flow of our life, which sometimes means that we can veer off and get back into a complacency that causes us to keep our head to the ground, and after about 6 months look up and another Charlottesville happens, right? So the idea that we are in a moment in time where we must really think about our why, and that our why should be motivating our actions and our Facebook posts and our commitments. Now I think more than ever, actually now more so than last Monday or even last Tuesday, now is our time to say, okay, if my grounding is this, then this is how I'm going to move forward. This is how I'm building coalitions. This is how I'm building relationships. This is how I'm caring for myself, because I know I'm doing this work, or I know I'm being a part of some action in the community, or even in my family, or even in my close friendships that are important, right, to us healing from and moving forward as a result of what happened in Charlottesville. And then we know that 45 is also now given this wishy-washy direction of Afghanistan and what we as a country are supposed to be doing with Afghanistan. And so here we are again, faced with the opportunity as not only just individual citizens, but as a country, to respond to militarism, right? The idea of going back to war again, because using his rhetoric, the job wasn't won. And so these things impact us, right? They cause us a little bit of trauma. They cause us to really reflect. And sometimes, if we're honest, it causes us to feel like we're helpless or we are hopeless. And neither one of those, I believe, are true. That those feelings of helplessness or hopelessness may wash over us. But when we connect to our why, when we see how our why overlaps and connects with others in our family, in our friend group, in our chosen family, in our community, then we begin to see what is possible. And as we begin to see more and more of what is possible, then we can put some elbow grease into, some foot to action, some real live forward movement into creating the world that we want to be. And so today, I am just, I'm a little bit sober around this idea of why, because my true confession is that I signed on to a clergy statement, a Richmond pastor statement that didn't really fully reflect not only who I am, but what I believe in. I love the idea of Richmond pastors coming together. I love the idea of doing a statement and taking a stand. However, when I connect to my why and I realize that there can sometimes be this false sense of urgency that is present that pushes us to act in ways that is outside of our character and outside of our grounding and our commitments, that then that act really is false and it is empty and that cannot build a solid future together. And so I've had to reflect on my own actions and my own reasonings for doing that and was convicted. And one of the reasons why I was convicted was because I connected to my why. And connecting to my why, knowing that I love God and I love God's people, believing that we can create a just world, that we can work together, that justice for all is about full inclusion of everybody. And that it is about not only using words of Christian supremacy, but it is about an open acceptance of who I believe Jesus showed himself to be. And one of those ways was just and kind and open to dialogue, right? And so when I reflect on my own why, when I reflect on that commitment, then I can judge my actions. Right? And it is another good reason why you should know what your why is, because when you know what your why is and you consistently live in commitment to and in congruence with that why, then people know you, right? The Christian scriptures say they will know you by your fruit, the fruit that you produce, which means that what you're grounded in, what your why is, means that you're going to make particular decisions, right? You're going to live in a certain way in the world. Right? So talk about that today, and maybe talk about it with yourself. Talk about it with God, divine, with the angels, with the ancestors. Maybe journal about your why, so that you can get solid in that, and so that why can be your grounding and your guiding to your commitments and to the way that you will help us create the world that we are looking for. And I could say so much more, but I think that that's a lot, right? I don't know about you, but it feels like a lot, and it definitely, it is not a trifling matter. Like the idea that we can and should be committed to something that is bigger than us, whether you call that God, whether you identify as Christian, whether you're spiritual, whether you believe in just human ideals, wherever your grounding is, know it, be able to articulate it, let your actions speak from it. And if you don't know it, look back over your life, think about what you want, not only your personal life to look like, but what you want your city to look like, what you want your state to look like, and therefore what you want this country to look like. And I think when we ask ourselves, what is my why? And we take the time to write it down, and we take further steps in fleshing that out in community with others, then we are really on the right track. Our political climate is going to be what it is. The personal issues in our life are going to continue to be what they are. Bills still need to get paid. People's hearts still get broken. People still find love. People still lose jobs. People still get jobs. People still start businesses. People write books. People experience tragedy and heartbreak and heartache. And it is still the why that is consistent and present through all of life's ups and downs. And so talk about it today. Talk about your why, what it is, how it keeps you grounded, and how it governs your actions. This is Pastor Lisette of Restoration Fellowship. I am excited about Sunday. I hope that you can join us Sunday for Reclaiming Our Faith. We are going to do a storytelling circle about church hurt and spiritual trauma. So many of us have stories of church hurt that we have kept inside. Many of us are still dealing with church hurt in some real and significant ways. And maybe you're looking for a space to be able to share and to listen with others. And so we invite you to come out on Sunday, August 27th, 3 p.m. at Diversity Richmond. And then, let's see, I think that's it. We did put the event up for Major, the film screening, and so we hope that you can join us on September 14th. That will be at University of Richmond, and that we hope that you will join us on Sunday. Sometimes healing work can be hard, but I think us building our resilience together in community makes the heavy load a little light. And so join us Sunday at 3 o'clock, 1407 Sherwood Avenue, event door number 4. And as I get ready to go, I encourage you to talk about what is your why today, and to talk about it with others and with the people that matter, and the people that you love and are committed to. It's Pastor Lisette of Restoration Fellowship. Thank you for watching this a little later, because I know I wasn't up or I wasn't available at 8 a.m. But thank you so much, and feel free to share this with others. And I will see you next week. Thanks. Bye.